going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Old Terps podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Andrew Terrell, sitting here in Indianapolis, Indiana, looking at Travis Valman's nasty-ass glasses on his face. Do you think you're cute or handsome or something? What's going on here?
I'm talking about nasty. They're just jealous they can't pull them off.
Kid doesn't even have contacts. Those are unglassed. He doesn't even have glasses in those. Those are just the frames.
Is he done yet? Is he done? Okay, thank you. They're blue lights. I just got done with 6 hours of film study. I've been, watching every game the Maryland Terrapins have played in slow motion. Really trying to dive deep into analytics. So I needed some, something to make me feel a little more academic. I look great. So if you're watching this live, you're welcome.
You got Reese Mona checking in here. I can't wait to hear this information Trav found out from watching 6 hours of Maryland film. Can't wait to hear about that.
It was tough. It was tough.
It's got a lot. It's got a lot to share today.
Yeah.
It's coming out. I'm sitting in Memphis. We got the Grizzlies tomorrow, but getting on here with the guys talking Terps.
Sounds like fun.
I'll tell you Travis's film study. He watched. Let's bring back the tweet. He watched Jameer Young do layup lines for the past 5 hours, and then the last hour he watched Matt run on the floor and go help people up after they fell down and tripped. Some of the worst basketball of all time. These past couple months have now parlayed into actually pretty solid basketball by the Terps, which I think maybe we start hitting the horizon here a little bit, maybe a little downhill slope. You guys ever been on a bike ride where you're ripping it up the hill? You got the gears on one, pedaling your little nuts off. Then out of nowhere, you hit the peak of it. You start going downhill. I think that might be where we're at here as Terps fans. We've hit the uphill. Let's release the legs a little bit. Maybe go a little freehand.
Do you know how to ride a bike?
Absolutely, one of the best in the business.
You sure?
Drew would be the type of guy. Drew would be biking to work probably.
What are you talking about, Reese? You do push-ups every morning. You're a loser. Reese actually cares. He's a loser.
This guy doesn't like being fit. Insane.
Don't care about being fit.
Water fast every week. That's how he stays fit.
Yeah, to God, I've got my own diet technique. Go 72 hours every other month without food, and I look tip-top shape. Fucking head.
But I think, though, the Terps, I think their defense is great. We've been there all year. I just think the last two games we've made three-pointers. We shot 46.7% versus Iowa, and then we shot 42.3% last game against Nebraska, and that's from threes. So if we're making those shots, we should be able to win most of our games here on out, but can we keep shooting like that?
So I think early in the season, it seemed like our defense I feel like we made a lot of mistakes, especially late in games, like letting guys get open shots, layups, miss assignments late in games. But if you believe it or not, we actually lead the Big Ten Conference in scoring defense. We only give up 63.4 points a game, which, again, like Teresa's point, if we can just pick up the offense a little bit, our defense has given us chances to win games. And we've been in a bunch of these games, even the ones we haven't won, we've been right there. And I think a lot of that is the defense has come a long, long way. We switch a lot. We're getting after the ball. We pressure. Again, we're pressing all game now. We're sometimes mixing in some junkie zone. So, defense has come a long way. Reese is frozen. You look like an idiot, by the way.
Jeez, just dumping on his face. Can you still hear us, Reese? No, Reese is gone. We don't care about Reese.
Reese is gone. Forget Reese. We don't know that guy.
Even better. So here's my only take on the Terps right now, which makes me a little bit nervous. Reese is back, by the way. Makes me a little bit nervous. It's kind of like when you wake up on a Sunday morning, after a big night, and you think back to the night before and you say to yourself, shit, that was a hell of a lot of fun. But then out of nowhere, you get weird little bits of anxiety. I look at Maryland like that. I'm like, beat the shit out of Nebraska. And then I'm like, oh, it's Nebraska. And then it's, beat Iowa. And it's like, fuck, Iowa. And we only beat them because Jameer had 11 points in the final 30 seconds. And then you go back 3 more days and you lost to Michigan State at home. And Michigan State's on the worst year I think they've had in, maybe 15. So it's like, it's just weird, man. This team makes me anxious in terms of, I feel like we're getting to that hill that we're starting to go down, and now out of nowhere, I'm talking to myself, are we just climbing a ladder again? What's going on?
Well, these are two. I think the difference between these two wins is they're really feel-good wins. You get a win at Iowa on the road that you really, in reality, you stole that game. Like you're probably saying to yourself there with a couple minutes to go, like, hey, we're going to pack it in and move on to the next one. And Jameer Young wills us to victory in that. So you steal that game on the road. And then we handled Nebraska easily at home. And that was about as good as a win as you could have in conference. You got really good play from your bench, who we haven't gotten much from all season long. And so I think those, like Andrew, you said, in terms of the bike rolling down the hill, like those were two really feel-good wins in the middle of a season where, especially after the Northwestern loss and the Michigan State loss, like, the season was hanging in the balance. Like that could have gone one of two ways. You lose on the road at Iowa, all of a sudden your season looks different. Now, both these wins give us new life, and they both feel good, especially the way we won them, and hopefully we continue to build on them.
Travis, what's your opinion on you lose at home, season starts looking a little bit, iffy, just like Kevin said. Then you go on the road, it looks like there's probably a loss, and then you go kill Nebraska at the house with a lot of energy behind you. Are you thinking, you look back 72 hours, Jameer's second three or the running layup to go up one, is that the whole turning point of the season where now we look back and we say, hey, that was the moment everything shifted? Or do you, how would you look at this as not just a fan, but as an actual player? Do you think they're talking about that right now? Hey, things just changed.
Totally. I think, when you're in conference play, right, I think number one thing is just win home games, like protect home court, try to steal ones where you can on the road. And Michigan State, I'm sure they feel like that was a missed opportunity. You're within 2 or 3 in the last play, and you can't get a game where it was, a weekend and great energy and all that. So you probably feel like that's a missed opportunity. Come back to steal one on the road at Iowa, where historically it's been pretty tough for us to win games. They scored a shit out of the ball at home. We get a win, probably steal one, and then it's like, okay, that was a wash, right? We lost when we shouldn't have lost. We won one that was maybe stole one. Now we're even. Let's go out, take business against Nebraska at home, which we should, and we did. So now it's like moving forward, it's like, okay, I think let's close out, win every home game the rest of the season, protect home court, and again, just try and steal what we can on the road. And we're in good shape, right? I think those 2 road games we stole, the Iowa and the Illinois, completely changed the outlook of the season to the point it's like okay, we have a chance now. We didn't have a chance before those 2 wins. Now we have a chance.
And I think exactly like Travis said, when you lose at Northwestern. That's a tough one. They're playing well this year. Not a bad loss. But then you lose at home to Michigan State, where this team's been really good at home. That's a lot of teams could almost pack it up then. Coaching staffs might say, well, let's just start playing freshmen. Maybe we're getting ready for next year. But then you come and win at Iowa and then destroy Nebraska at home. It shows these guys still want it. They're still thinking about the NCAA tournament. And you can tell they play hard. And people can say what they want about Willard, but it's showing that these guys love Willard and they want to play hard for him. A lot of teams you see might fold, might not play hard, might not really care. These guys are going to guard no matter what. And if they're making shots, they can win some games.
I think that's an important point that probably hasn't been made enough, is that, again, we haven't shot the ball well all year. We've been very up and down offensively, but these guys have played hard as shit all season long. Like that hasn't changed one bit at all, game in, game out. And I think to Reese's point, a lot of teams would have packed it in and quit. They would have just, this is a lost season. We're not going to probably go anywhere here. Like, let's call it what it is. These guys have played hard as hell, game in, game out, and they're finally being rewarded for just kind of they've continued to work.
I think that's a lot to do with the makeup too. You have Dante Sky, you have Jameer, you have Juju, all older players. Dante, Jameer, this is year 5. I mean, this is it for them, and you have a bunch of freshmen who don't know any better. And so it is a good little makeup of guys that they're going to play to the end. And like you said, no matter what has happened in any of these games, like we've continued to play hard. Early in the season, I think, a couple tough losses, guys dropping their heads. But I think the way we've responded for the past week or so, like we've talked about, it feels like it's given our season new life.
Kev, what's your thought on Jameer's performance these past 8 games? We were discussing it before we even got on. Who's he the most comparable to? And that's Anthony Cowan. He's a 4+ year player. He has a ton of points at NCAA. Historically, he's known as a killer. Really good on ball. He's just kind of a dog. What's been your opinion of Jameer these past couple games?
Yeah, I think what's impressive about him is there's no secret that he's 1A on the scouting report. Every team is going into all these games, and he's the guy that you have to stop if you want to beat Maryland. And you could throw Juju in there, especially in the post, but Jameer's our guy, and he continues to step up. I mean, he takes and he makes big shots. He wills us along in more than half of these games. He keeps us afloat in a lot of these games. A lot of times he's a one-man offense, and so I just think it's impressive with all the attention that he's getting on a night in, night out basis, and just he's scoring at all three levels. He's staying aggressive, and especially in that Iowa game, like he hit big shot after big shot, and finally get to his left-handed finish. I just think it's impressive. Teams are going into each of these games trying to stop him, and he's continuing to carry us.
One important point about him that I think should get more attention. I think we talked about this last week. He literally leads the country right now in quad one points per game, quad one scoring. So in quad one games, he's scoring 25 points per game, I think, which is, again, to that point, he steps up in the biggest games against the best competition. And to Kev's point, defenses are completely geared to stopping him. There's a clip. We got to find the picture. There's a picture, and it's 5 guys, and they're all facing him, not even looking at their men, and he's still managing to score from all 3 levels. It's been really impressive. He's averaging 20 a game. Again, stepping up against quad one competition. It's been really impressive. He's been playing like All-American, in my opinion.
And to your point, he's been doing it late in games too. It's a stat we can look at on Terrapin Hoops, but they posted he has the most clutch points. It looked like it was in the last 2 minutes of the game when a game was within 5 points. He had about 68 points or something. The next person was 10 points behind. So in clutch times, he's doing it too.
I'll be really curious to see what happens when we go to Michigan State next week, which is a Saturday game. Notoriously, Michigan State's one of the toughest places to play and win. However, I think they scored what? I mean, Reese, Travis, and I went to that game. Their transition offense is lethal per usual. They run their lanes and they do their job. But how awful Maryland played in stopping that and still giving themselves a chance. I mean, granted, we're at home, but there's going to be changes made on that front, which I think gives Maryland a better chance. I don't know if 2-2-1's the answer. We tried to do that a bunch of times with Cassius, and then when we played Denzel and Tum Tum and those guys, it doesn't work that well. They run their lanes. They're not scared to make turnovers on it either, and Izzo likes to push that ball. How do you guys think, and Kevin, question for you, how would you go about trying to stop that, kind of just get it out of the basket and go, everybody's running their lanes? Are you getting back? Are you putting a little zone pressure? How do you even manage to slow that down?
I think it starts and it kind of goes into how we already play, like the high pickup point. Michigan State is really good at hitting the outlet quick. Their guy gets it out of bounds, and their point guard's catching the ball above the free throw line and going, and wings are out. And the way that we already press is our point guards and Deshaun and Jameer are already picking up 3/4 court. And so I just think there needs to be a heightened focus when the ball goes through the net, or if it doesn't, obviously a missed shot, it's game on anyway in transition. But when the ball goes through the net, there's no relax, and guys are focused and locked in on picking up a guy. You don't have a man in transition, but I think those early pickup points, not letting the point guard get a running start, getting the ball out to those wings, and honestly, I think a lot of it has to do with, and I think it could play to our strength is playing fast with them. Like, both teams aren't great in the half court. We have some athletes that can compete with them in transition. We can make this a little bit of a game ourselves and play fast with them, and obviously try to limit transition baskets, but push it back the other way ourselves.
And this is something Willard alluded to in the post game. He said, I don't think our guys realized just how fast they run until the game started, because we gave up, I want to say 4 to 6, maybe 8 layup points just from not getting back in transition. Kev, you probably could speak to this. How, when you're actually playing against Michigan State, like, how does that affect your thought process as far as, like, most games you're on offense, ball goes up, you're whatever watching. How does that actually affect your thought process as far as like I have to actually get on the horse and get back?
Yeah, I mean that's what makes Michigan State tough is like mentally there's no relax. And the ball goes through the net. I think naturally you take a bit of a deep breath and the other team takes the ball out and you get your half court defense set up. But the way that they play, they go. It's almost like a made shot is the start of their offense. And so it's just a heightened focus. Again, I go back to it. You can't have a man in transition, especially if you're running the wings. The guy that might be guarding you, you might not be guarding him in the opposite end, but you can't be searching for your man and all of a sudden you turn around and guys laying the ball in. And one of the other things I think that's impressive with how Michigan State, plays is their bigs also run the court. Like I remember that was a thing with Nick Richards back in the day, and they always seem to have a couple of big men that can come in and out, and they play a lot of guys, but their bigs run the court, they post up, and that's always their first look. Similar kind of how Iowa plays. And just got to be a heightened focus. Ball goes through the net, it's game on. It's not time to relax.
So Michigan State only scored 61 points. 19 came off Maryland turnovers. 14 came off fast break points. That's 33.
That's the game.
So more than half was from points off turnovers and transition. Kevin said it. They are bad in the half court.
They can't score. They can't shoot. We can't shoot. They also cannot shoot.
And basketball is a game of runs. We got one or two big runs, but we didn't get many because if we scored, I mean, it was 2 seconds. The ball was up. They hit a three, and then the crowd forgets that we just scored. You just watch Michigan State run. So I think I like trying to see if we can pick up, but I think Maryland tried that and it didn't really work. I mean, exactly. I think dudes need to sprint beyond half court. They need to be sitting at 3-point line waiting for a man because they were not ready for that.
Do you guys remember the play? Dante shot the ball. I don't remember if he made it or not. I want to say he made it. And
it goes up to Tyson Walker.
Yeah, the ball, they took it out. Hogard caught it, threw the ball ahead to Tyson Walker. Tay had to sprint from under the basket to stop the ball, which is, it makes sense, right? He's a fifth-year senior. He's played against Michigan State 10, 11, 12 times at this point. The other guys clearly probably just didn't understand how quickly those guys get on the run. Hopefully now, we've seen it before, we can limit some of those transition points, limit those turnover points, and it's a different ballgame.
Besides that, I think we're pretty evenly matched. I think we have Jameer and I think we have Tyson, who are clear number ones. I think you have big men that, in Malik Hall, Juju, Dante, etc., that are supposed to be, more guys than they actually are. I mean, our teams are legitimate, pretty mirrory when it comes to that. The only difference is, Michigan State just has a little bit more experience 1 through 5 on the floor at all times. Other than that, I think in terms of an up and down season, I think we're almost identical. Nobody can shoot the ball. Half court offense sucks. You go on runs. Your best player either takes over or he doesn't. So I think that's why, you look at this game on Saturday, it's a huge game for Maryland because it would really, really help our tournament chances and just staying in the seeding. But it has to go through Jameer. And, as much as I want to say all these other external factors would be great, if Jameer scores 27 through 35, like Northwestern, we have a chance to win that ball game. So I think that's the only issue that I see with our team right now. And, I think we are so identical in terms of teams that it's tough for us to even think that we could win on the road there. But they just did it at our house.
Yep. And like Drew said, you look at it, Michigan State's 12-8, Maryland's 13-8. Both teams have struggled early, have found some games they look good. Both can't really shoot that well. But guess the ESPN analytics for Michigan State to win. What percentage chance do they have to beat Maryland?
At the Breslin Center, they're going to give them like a 77% chance.
82.
It's Breslin.
82.7% chance. Maryland has a 17.3.
He saw it before. Don't. We definitely, right before we got on, he definitely was looking at that. He was already locked in.
Swear to God, I didn't. I know ball, guys. Drew, you know what I locked in on today?
Drew, what's the spread going to be?
Spread?
Yeah, and who would you take?
At an 82%, what were they at the crib? 2.5. I'd probably say you're looking at 6, 5.5, 6.
What side are you on?
What side am I on?
What side are you on?
Nobody.
Spartans, baby. You kidding me? On the road to Big Ten, I'm one man show here, guys. I am winning on the road in the Big Ten. People still do not understand how hard that is.
It's tough,
and they never will. I don't think Vegas takes into account. I just in my mind. What time's the game at, Reese?
5:30. Wow, 5:30 on Fox.
Well, I'll tell you that what, fellas. Michigan State first half, Michigan State full game. That's what you. If you're a betting man, that's what you should take. So
speaking of winning on the road, not to completely change subject, Matt Painter had a quote, and maybe it was about a week or 2 weeks ago. The seniors on his team have never lost a road game where the other team didn't storm the court, which is a wild stat.
I saw that.
And that's true. If somebody fact check it. He said in a post-game interview, the seniors on his team have never lost a road game where the other team didn't storm the court.
Wow.
Which is insane. It's insane. Yeah.
So they must
They've
be
been
top
good,
10
though.
the last
Regular season, those guys have been airtight.
Hey, Trav, wasn't it wild, though, to get this storm court on you when we were at Penn State?
It was nuts.
It's a weird feeling.
You kind of want to knock a student in the jaw for getting too close to you. You kind of just want to ush like LeGarrette Blount, the Oregon football. You want to just kind of knock somebody out real quick. Just remind them you don't play around.
Penn State had 13 people storm the court, huh?
Yeah, but they were talking nasty. They're just talking a little nasty. It's just it's stuff they wouldn't say to you normally, but they're kind of a little bit too close to you, jawing a little bit. You kind of just want to chin check them real quick.
Well, here's a great story for you. We're at Minnesota when we're the number 2 team in the country. Melo misses a game-winning layup. It was some bullshit, but they stormed the court. Rashid Suleiman got ran over. And he threw a couple nut taps. He was out there. He was throwing a couple. And Rashid was fucking crazy. One of the greatest dudes of all time. But man, he did not play around when it came to competitiveness. He threw a couple ball taps out there. When they're that close, it is bananas. And we talk about the Caitlin Clark, for instance. They run on the court, which LOL. I don't care what side of the coin you're on. Come on. There is no way Caitlin Clark looked at somebody running on that floor and said, fuck it, I'm going to drill you. It doesn't make any sense. So
do we think it was a little Do we think it was a little bit of a flop? Or we think that was a flow?
Warning. Not a technical foul. Maybe a warning.
In her defense.
Maybe sold it. Just sold it a little bit.
But if you got hit while you're running onto a floor, I'm sorry, I'm probably going to fall over as well. It's like getting punched at a bar, sucker punched at a bar. Sometimes you just go down, man.
Sounds like Drew's been there.
Get knocked out.
Don't let these guys fool you. First off, don't let these clothes fool you. But secondly, don't let these guys fool you. If each one could pick one guy out of the 4 of us, if they were stranded in a bar and needed help out, everybody's choosing me. We all know.
Oh, we should ask everybody.
Okay, Reese, who are you choosing?
Out of the group?
At us 4.
Right. I've already defended him in the past. He almost got whooped one time on the court. So yeah.
All right. Didn't always get whooped. We might have to put up the film, but just because of that, I got to put up Trav because we got the photo.
See, and that's just
we'll put the footage on the screen. Reese went up for a layup. He got absolutely cross-body checked by some musclehead. I had to step up and basically tell Cuz relax because we're in college player. You don't want to get smacked. So, and he relaxed. He calmed down.
Travis, go ahead.
I'd be very confident with any of you 3 though, and we know that.
Travis,
he's not currently here with us. My vote is Brendan. I think he'll protect me the most. Actually,
that it's proving it's validating even further.
Wow.
We'll throw a picture up of his face on here so you guys know what we're talking about.
Kev.
The only guy I've ever seen in actual street scrap was Reese throwing a guy over his knee in old Saratoga, New York. So Andrew will get us in the fight. Andrew will run his mouth, and he'll probably back it up. But I've only seen with my two eyes Reese Mona actually do something. So I would have to take Reese.
Hang on,
and he does his push-ups, dude. He's fit.
That's valid.
Yeah, Jesus. Okay, let's get off his nuts. Matt almost
How handsome
crawled
is he,
underneath
Kev?
the bench, almost ran to Kyle when he got pushed, just barely. Oh my God, Kyle, fucking defend me. It's pathetic, dude. I remember texting after that game thinking to myself, what the hell was that?
That's good. That's good Cleveland.
Let's
really quickly. Let's show some love to the bench guys. We've gotten some good production out of the bench the last couple games. Jahari Long, last 3 games, shooting 8 for 10, I want to say, from 3. He's been a spark off the bench. Jamie last game. What did he have? It was 4 threes last game? 4 for 5 from 3 against Nebraska. You know, the guys are figuring out a little bit. Changes the game a little bit, right?
Jahari just impacts the game. He should play more.
He should play more.
He should, and he has been. Let's give credit where it's due. He overall, as the season's gone on, he's played more. He just impacts the game. It doesn't always look pretty, but it feels like he's just making a difference. And then Jamie, on the other hand, this is the type of game as a freshman and as a shooter. Jamie has a successful game like this in confies, and this could be a difference maker for him too. Shooting the ball a little bit more confidence. You never know.
You know what Long is like, and I said this to.
I personally don't actually. Yeah. I have no idea. So why don't you explain and tell me?
Please tell us how it is.
Please explain.
Can't remember Cat's first name. Man.
Lights too bright, moment too big, pissed down his leg, couldn't remember his first name.
Jesus. Yeah, Jahari. Sorry, I didn't want to butcher it on the camera, so I just went with Long. I forgot that you guys took everything ridiculous. Jesus, somebody talk.
No. Finish your statement about Jahari Long.
Okay, you know what Jahari is in a nutshell. He is. Go look at every 3-pointer he's made potentially in the season, but at least this week, he doesn't have a single swish. Those things are little rim ins. You know what? It doesn't look good. Little rim jobs here and there. It doesn't look good, but it gets the job done. You know what I'm saying?
We were there.
You don't need to be great. You don't need to swish everything. Ball doesn't have to go in the hole directly. It just has to go in subtly. You know,
it spins. His rotation spins sideways. Pause. And then the ball. You know what? Let's move on. Next topic, please. Please. Let's. No.
What is going on?
Let's. Anyway.
Is there a way to rate this XXX? Because this is
not suitable for young audiences at all.
Wow.
Yeah, I got nothing to say.
I got nothing to say.
That was
either.
Disgusting. Reese can't even. That was disgusting.
You know it's bad. You know it's bad when the producers are in the chat saying crazy. This is ridiculous. Move on. Red flags everywhere. Bells and whistles going off my ear. I've got a little earpiece in, and they're screaming, "Move on."
What do we?
This is Chris Cuomo.
Here's the biggie. Michigan State predictions. What do we really think? I know I was joking around earlier, but what do we really think? We'll go in order. Kev, Travis, Reese, go.
If we think it was tough to stop in transition at home, it's going to be even tougher in their building. If they get out in transition, they're playing fast, and we can't take care of the ball, it's going to get ugly.
I got 66-62 Michigan State. I don't think we've been in an environment that unchy yet this season. We played at IU. That was a little crazy, but they kind of suck. I don't think we've been in an environment like this season, and it's just a really tough place to play, unless Jameer goes for 30.
Yep, I got to say Michigan State. I just don't see how Maryland can win it unless they're shooting 50% again, but I just don't see it.
You know what you need to do now, Drew. It's 3-0 for Michigan State here, so you know what you need to do.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the Spartans. are you guys kidding me? It's Michigan State, and it might be Michigan State by 15, 20 plus. I hate being that guy, but this isn't Iowa. This isn't what other team did we beat on the road in Big Ten play?
Listen, print this out. Print this transcript out. Paste it in the locker room tomorrow before they walk into practice.
We have Illinois' number. It's different.
We always win at Illinois.
Always win at Illinois. They try. Remember they tried to give us that game. They literally were begging us to win that game that one year when Bruno got the rebound with one hand and put the ball back up with like half a second left.
Yes,
that was Kevin's corner three that should have went in.
We were up 30. We were up like 30. I mean, Kevin still remembers how it felt off the hand.
What the craziest? Yeah, dude. Actually. Okay, go there. I'll tell you guys off camera because I don't know if it's public knowledge. So I'll tell you guys off camera. There's some really interesting things that are going on with Illinois, though. I'll just put that out there.
Extremely interesting, and that is something we should think about discussing. Extremely interesting. I know exactly where you're going with that. Yeah, let's not even get into it on this one. That's a little precursor to next one.
We'll find out if it's public knowledge yet or if it's still behind the scenes, and we'll figure out if we can talk about it. But there's something going on with it. There's a Maryland-Illinois relationship that we can't get into, but there's something going on there which makes this year's win just a little bit sweeter.
A little sweeter, maybe a little bit extra scoop of Kool-Aid in the juice. It suggests a little 1.5. We're putting a little 2.5 now. Anybody else got anything before we sign off and cut this thing? Reese.
Shout out to the fans. We did the in-person podcast. Travis already mentioned it. Drew, myself, and Trav were in person. A lot of fans saying they like the Old Turf podcast. We appreciate you. We appreciate you shouting us out. And thanks for listening.
Tell your friends. Oh, Kev, we didn't even discuss it, brother. We're going to be sending actually, you are going to be sending Drew, actually, I'll let you explain it since you announced it. Go ahead, Drew.
Even better. This is my favorite part. I'd like to add this was not my idea. But what was my idea was putting it on the story before telling you, which is, maybe a little ink, little Sharpie action gets put onto a little jersey, for a lucky follower from here until February 14th, or I think 10th. 14th. If you follow the old Terps on Instagram, you get your name put into a raffle, and Kev will, you got your choice. Either a signed jersey or game-worn compressions. Either one. We don't judge on this podcast. But you get one of those two. So that's where we're at with that. And, I think other than that, we are where we are. And go Terps on Saturday. And anybody else got anything before we sign off?
Have a great week, guys. You guys are great. I'm proud of you guys. Beautiful faces. Have a great week, guys.
Have a great week.
All right, man. I'll talk to you.